jumping ship now, landlubber. We be setting sail for distant ports unknown. We're out to find the greatest treasure. I don't care who I have to cut down until it's mine. Even if that includes you.
Welcome back to Stoneguard Forge, where today, as you might have had a suspicion, sneaking up from behind like a hairy hand in the dark, it's Halloween. And we have Captain Blackjack Scurvy here to supervise as we make a pirate sword. This is a blank. I've sort of started shaping the tip a little bit just to give me a little guidance. And we have this piece of steel. It's 1095, 3/16 inch thick, so it's going to be a nice, kind of lean, lightweight blade. And we're going to try out the new fullering tool as well. So let's fire up the forge and get started on this knife. Okay, let's get this fire roaring here. We're going to turn on the blower in a second, but as you might have noticed, I made the fire pit a little bit larger than usual today because we're going to be hammering out the bevels on that blade, shaping it and doing the fullers. So I want to get, maybe that much heated up at a time and be able to stretch it out. Now when we go to do the quench, I can get this whole fire going from here, like over here where the pipe ends, all the way back to here. I get this whole fire going and heat up that whole blade, almost the entirety of it, just by sitting it there. I'll run it back and forth a little probably, but it should be okay to heat up that blade the full length before we get a good quench. So that's the reason I made this fire as big as I can, at least the fire pit. I made the forge go from here to there, which is about 34 inches I think, so I can get longer blades in there for heat treating. Most of the time I'm just going to be using about half of it or less. Well, it's in the fire, it's heating up the edge. We're going to start beveling the edge. And normally with a blade I start down closer to the ricasso with the forging of the bevel. But here I'm going to start with the tip because I do want it to curve a little bit more at the tip. I want just the tip right there to kind of curve up a little bit. Most of the blade is going to be fairly straight with a slight curve to it. So that's where it's going to curve the most. So we're going to start there just so I can keep control over the shape of the blade. Okay, now as you can see, I had to make a minor modification to the forge there just now, so I can run the blade through a little further. Now that I have the tip of it more or less forged the shape I want and the bevels, we're going to hammer in the fuller on both sides using the fullering tool that I just built today. We're going to try it out and see how it works. But first we have to heat up the steel from about the ricasso area, about 2/3 down. That's about as far as the fuller is going to run. So I haven't hammered on that part of the blade yet because it'll start curving a little bit as I do. And I actually do want to do it that way and draw out the edge rather than just completely impact it like you might with a samurai sword or something. I want it to just banana that thing a little bit so we got a slight curve to it. We won't draw it out a whole lot, but we'll draw it out a little bit, and it'll still have a good solid thick edge on it. While that's heating up, let's go ahead and put our freshly made fuller jig in place. Got a little flex there. The handle's a little bit saddled in the middle. Actually, that comes in handy sometimes. I didn't think it would, but I kind of like it. So it'll have a little flex there, a little bit here. So it should snap through there and just fuller that. Let's try it out and see how she does. Got the basic shape of the Cutlass right now. It is a bit massive still. Our fullering tool worked pretty good. It's not very deep, but it's enough to give me a guide for when we grind it on the belt grinder. We're going to take a lot more of that weight out, as well as a lot more weight will come off when we even up these bevels on it and shape it. So it's a little more massive than Captain Blackjack Scurvy wants, but that's not going to last long. We're going to take this down a bit in weight, as well as shine it up and make it real pretty. So let's Okay, here we have the roughed out pirate sword, which is probably going to be Blackbeard's sword because he's a very notorious pirate. And we've already made his knife, so we may as well give him this awesome sword too, of which I intend to travel back in time, give it to him, and then it will be Blackbeard's sword. It's pretty executive thinking if you ask me. Okay, I've got two problems here that I still have to refine. My fullers are off by about 1 inch. This one needs to be a little longer, so I got to work on that. Not a big deal. This one here needs a little bit more fullering because the fuller isn't full enough. And they're rough, but it's a pirate sword. And all in all, it's looking pretty sexy. And we've got the tang tapered and beveled here, so I got not beveled, tapered and adjusted, I guess I'm looking for. So that's where the block is going to go. We're going to use a block of wood. I think I have tamarind. That's what I'm going to use for this. It's going to look really slick. We're going to flute it, and then of course another nice guard on it that we're going to make out of either sheet metal or hammered steel. I don't know which yet. So we're working on that. But there it is. It's actually lightened up considerably. All that meat taken off of it. We ground the heck out of it, cleaned it up real nice, got it down to a real fine edge, not sharp edge of course, but after we temper it, we'll probably do some of that to it, sharpen it up, cut stuff like watermelons and pumpkins. So we're going to stick this in the forge probably tomorrow, and we're going to put our mark on it, the raven skull right there, and then we're going to quench it in oil. And I made a new quench tank specifically for this sword because my other one was too short and the other one I made was not wide enough, so the sword wouldn't go in all the way. So now I have a new quench tank, and we're going to try it out, quench this blade and harden it up, and then we're going to temper it. Right now it feels really good. It feels light. It feels like the kind of sword you could take a ship over with. Now it is a little bit longer than maybe a traditional pirate cutlass, and that's on purpose. I wanted something that looked like a big, brutal pirate sword. We put that cool scallop tip on the end here. And it's a little wider right in through here. Almost scimitar looking. But that's kind of a classic fantasy pirate sword design, and that's what I was going with here. This one here, which is not a sword yet, this is going to be more of a traditional pirate cutlass. It's going to be about 27 inches long. It's going to have a saber tip on it, not the just the flat cutlass tip. So that's going to be more or less historically in line, and it's also going to have a nice handle and guard, and it'll look a lot more like a traditional pirate sword, or an authentic, maybe a naval fighting sword of some sort. So that's what we're going with. We're going to go a little bit of fantasy pirate and a little bit of authentic pirate. That way we've got a little something for everybody. captured the evil rum thief. And you know what we do with rum thieves? Normally we stick them in the gibbet and let them rot. This one has to go. I haven't actually sharpened this sword because it's probably going to be used as costuming, even though it's fully functional and fully forged stone guard steel. We're going to beat this pumpkin just because. For stealing rum. What do you say to that?
Persistent towards unknown. We're out to find the greatest treasure. I don't care who I have to cut down until it's mine, even if that includes you.
Okay, can't say we didn't warn you. I don't want to chop there. What about here? No? How about just right down the middle? You ready? Oh, right through the face. Ah! Ah! Right through the chops. And let's do one more for good measure. Ah! Nasty. Now we've opened him up. We've stuck his face. And now he must pay. Well, I think it's safe to say this sword works. It's a great execution piece, and every pirate should have it.